Hello, everyone. It's Stephanie Ponteau. Welcome back to class. I'm so glad you guys are still working hard on your English. Welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. This is the Vision Church Level 2 class. My contact information is there. This is part 3 of the class for Monday, May 2nd, and we're continuing on in Lesson F on page 107. But before you open your book, I want to ask you a few questions, okay? So in this lesson, we're going to talk about could. Yep, you see that? Couldn't, can, and can't. Okay, can you see that? Yeah, okay, so I'm going to have to kind of step out of the way. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to move can't so that I can stand in this corner over here and you can still see everything that's on the board. Okay? Yeah. All right, so we're going to talk about could, couldn't, can, and can't. All right? So I'm going to ask you some questions. So if we were in class, I would ask you and I would be very interested to hear your responses because I really like learning about you guys and what you're like and what your childhood was like. So the first question is, what could you do when you were a child? What could you do when you were a child? Now, because I can't hear you, you can't tell me. So I will tell you what I could do as a child. I could oh, that is not showing up very well. Let me get my black, see if the black one will write any better. Okay, when I was a child, I could, yes, that's much better. I could ride a bike. When I was a child, I could do a backflip. Okay? So think about the things you could do when you were a child. All right, next question is, what couldn't you do when you were a child? So we did could. Now, what couldn't you do when you were a child? Okay, so think about that and I'll tell you what I couldn't do as a child. When I was a child, I couldn't drive a car. Okay, when I was a child, I couldn't drive a car. One more thing I couldn't do when I was a child. I couldn't swim. Yeah, I tried. I took swimming lessons at Girl Scout camp and I just couldn't get it. So when I was a child, I couldn't swim. Okay, so next question. What are some things you can do now? What can you do now? Since you can't tell me, I'll tell you what I can do now. I can drive a car. See? I couldn't drive a car when I was a child, but I can drive a car now. Okay? Um, I can swim a little. So I can swim a little now. So I'll say I can swim a little. I'm not a very good swimmer, but I can swim a little. Okay? Next question. What can't you do now? Can't. What can't you do now? So you guys think about some things you can't do now. And so I'll tell you what I can't do now. I can't do a backflip now. See, I could when I was a child, but I can't do a backflip now. So, oh, I'm too low. You can't really see that. So let's see. I'll write it over here. I can't do a backflip. Okay. Something else I can't do now. I can't I can't play the piano. Okay, that's something else I can't do now. I can't play the piano. Okay. All right. So that was just like some warm up exercises to practice using could, couldn't, can, and can't. All right. So what I want you to do before we get started on exercise 2 on page 107, I want you to listen to and watch um, the animated grammar video. So use your QR code scanner on your phone and watch this video. So pause the class video, and I want you to watch the animated grammar chart video because it's really helpful and it'll help make this whole exercise very easy for you. So hit pause, watch that, and then come and join me when you're done. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, welcome back. Now that you have watched the animated grammar video, let's go on and look at exercise 2. Now, exercise 2, we are going to make grammar connections. We're going to use could and couldn't, and can and can't. Could and couldn't, can and can't. And it's present, past, and present ability. Ability to do something. Okay? So use can and can't to talk about the ability to do something in the present. So can and can't we use for the present. The present tense. That's things that are going on now. And could and couldn't, you use could and couldn't to talk about ability to do something in the past. Okay, so that's why I asked you, what could you do when you were a child? And what couldn't you do when you were a child? Because that's the past. And then I asked you, what can you do now? And I asked, what can't you do now? Because that's the present right now. Okay, so could and couldn't. And remember that You see the little tip bubble there. It says couldn't equals could not, and can't is the same as cannot. It's a contraction. Couldn't and can't are contractions. And that's when you put two words together. And anytime there are contractions in English, most people are going to use the contraction. If I can say I can't go, I'm not going to say I cannot go with you to the movies. I'm just going to say I can't. If I'm going to say um, I couldn't swim when I was a child, that is it's easier to say couldn't than I could not swim when I was a child. So just know if there is a contraction, use that because that's what most English speakers are going to use. Okay? All right, so let's go on with exercise 2A. Now remember, could is for the past, couldn't is for the past, and then can and can't is the present. All right, so because they read those sentences in the grammar chart, the animated video, I'm not going to read over that again because I want to make sure that we can finish this page in this lesson. So let's go on. Let's look at exercise 2A. It says work with a partner, look at the pictures, and talk about your abilities before, which would be your childhood or, in a earlier in life. Talk about your abilities before and now. Okay, and then here's another tip bubble for us. So let's read that. It says useful language. Last year, as a child, 2, 5, 10 years ago, whatever number you want to put in there when you're talking about a certain number of years ago, and then a few years ago. Now, those are just examples of time periods that you can use to talk about something. But when something happened in a time period, those are phrases you can use. But there are many others, and I wanted to write just a few others up here. So some other time periods that you could use, like if you want to write some practice questions after this exercise, which would be great. A long time ago. That's a time phrase. Let's see. Can you see that? Nope, my pen. I tell you, these Sharpies, these dry erase markers, they dry out so fast. It's like almost at the end of every 2 classes, they're dried out. So let me try the red one here and see if you can see it. So write these down in your student notebook so you can, in your student notebook that I have you keep to write notes, write these time phrases down so that you can practice using them as well. There's a few in the book in the blue bubble, but here are some more you can practice with. All right, so you could say a long time ago. Okay, yeah, you can see that pretty good, right? Okay. A long time ago, or um, before I got married, if you want to talk about that time period. So you can say, before I got married, I went shopping every weekend. Or just something that you did before you got married. All right. Before I had children, there are all kinds of uh, statements that you can make to talk about a time period. You could say last year, last month, this morning. Okay, so phrases like that, those are all phrases that tell us, these are all phrases that tell you when something happened. Okay, when something happened. So, there are many more, but these are just a few. that you can practice making sentence with. Okay. All right. So now, exercise A. We're going to work with a partner. Guess who your partner is? Me. I'm your partner again. All right. So, work with a partner. Look at the pictures. Talk about your abilities. So, there are 6 pictures there. So, in picture 1, there's someone driving. Picture 2, there's someone playing the piano. Picture 3, there is a mom taking care of her children. Picture 4, there's someone checking email. Picture 5, there's someone reading a book in English. Do you guys read books in English? That's good practice for you. And if you need to start with an easier book, that's fine. Just any kind of practice will really help you. Remember, the key to all skill, not just English, but any skill is what? Practice, practice, practice. And number 6 is cook. So someone is cooking, looks like some stir fry. And that looks really delicious. I love stir fry. Oh, some good fried rice. Okay, so we're going to talk about abilities before, which is in the past, and we're going to talk about abilities now. And we're going to use these pictures and phrases to make our sentences. So here's an example. So I'm going to be person A, and I'll disguise my voice for person B just to make it, a little bit more interesting. All right. I couldn't drive before, but I can drive now. Well, I could drive a car before, and I can drive a car now. Okay, so, and you can use any of those useful language phrases over there as well. But I'll just use different ones. You go along with me, and maybe you can make up some sentences on your own to practice. All right, picture 2. I could play the piano when I was a teenager, but I can't play the piano now. I could take care of children before I got married, and I can take care of children now. And I do all the time. And I love my children. But actually, my kids are getting old enough that they kind of can do most things for themselves now. So I just guide them and help them. All right, number 4. I could check my email before, and I can check my email now. Could, talking about the past, can is now. What I can do, what I could do before and what I can do now. All right, number 7. I could read a book in English when I was a child. I think I started reading about 6. And I can read a book in English now. And I bet most of you guys can too, because you're great English students. And picture 6 is, as a child, I couldn't cook, but I can cook now. And then some of these other phrases we could try. Last year, I couldn't play the piano, and I still can't play the piano now. Let's see about some of these phrases. A long time ago, I could play the piano. When I was in college, I took piano lessons. And I was in college, oh my gosh, whew, about 30 years ago, something like that. So, a long time ago, I could play the piano, but I can't anymore. I wasn't very good when I stopped taking lessons and I didn't practice anymore, so I forgot everything I learned. All right, let's see what else. What was some other? Ah, before I got married, I couldn't cook very well, but I cook very well now. My husband really loves my cooking. So let's see. So you guys you get the gist, right? Of could and couldn't is for the past. Can and can't is for the present. And Let's see, what else could I tell you? Okay, so let's look at exercise 2B real quick. So you're supposed to work with a partner and ask and answer questions. And I kind of just did that. I practiced with you talking about things that I can and can't do now and talking about things that I could and couldn't do in the past. So I just want to encourage you to practice that and maybe have some conversations with your kid or with a friend so that you can get practice, or maybe even call a classmate. Let's see. I think, did I give you guys each other's phone number? I think I will send that out to you guys so that maybe you can call a classmate and you guys can practice on the phone together maybe. Okay, let's see. I think I covered everything on page 107. Alrighty, I think that's it. Thank you for coming to class. We just completed part 3 of the Monday, May 2nd class. And I will see you in the next lesson. Take care. Bye. I miss you guys. All right. Stay safe.